Fadda. Fadda.
You sure?
Yeah, fadda.
So the question is, if somebody has some malice or some ill uh, conceptions, envy, jealousy, hassle, things like that, and they feel it, but how do I know that it's something inside their heart versus just whispering to Shaitan? How does a person know what's in his heart that's poisonous versus what's just whisperings of a Shaitan?
Question regarding someone who has some ill feelings in his heart or just is on his mind. It comes to him. How does he know that it's from Shaitan and his whisperings, or is it actually in his heart, him being a jealous or envious person, so on and so forth? Let's talk about sports. We're in football season. Most of the brothers watching football, or a lot of the brothers. So, Fulan, he was on a team, and he turned over the ball. He choked in a playoff game, threw some bad interceptions, really bad, poor decisions, overthrew this one, etc. We say, well, the players were injured, or the coaching staff, or the offensive scheme wasn't good for him as a quarterback. He's an out-of-the-pocket quarterback, and he's in the that. Mumkin. But he gets traded to another team, and the offensive coordinator is different. The offensive line is different. He has some star receivers, a good tight end, and he makes those same bad results. All right, maybe he's having a bad year. He's traded to a third team, and the same thing happens. That clearly proves that those errors and those mistakes and that lack of stepping up to the level of an elite quarterback is the actual what? Quarterback himself. Versus he had a bad game. He had the flu. His Achilles. He bruised his rib or something. Or the coaching staff was bad. They were racist against him. They didn't want him to be a quarterback outside of the pocket. You got to stay in the pocket. All right? Or the guys dropped the balls or some bad calls. So the thought of hasad comes to you. Nah, he's a good brother. But then it keeps lingering. It keeps festering. You have it for more than one person. You have for someone that you have more than Allah. Allah gave you more than that person. You still have the same feeling. Now you can't just keep blaming it on what? Shaitan. It's clearly showing you that it's what? It's you. Because here, Shaitan came to me, no doubt. But here, in the masjid, you're reading the Quran, you're making dhikr, and you're still feeling nasty. You're still spewing out the venom on people. You're in an environment, a time, a place in the ibadah when Shaitan is supposed to be far from you. All right? So some of the scholars of Islam, they mention about the hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ says that when Ramadan comes, the gates of paradise are opened up, the doors of hell are locked shut, and the devils are fettered. وَصُفِّدَتِ الشَّيَاطِينُ وَسُلْسِلَتِ الشَّيَاطِينُ. The devils are chained down. And they have different understandings of the hadith. And some of them, they say, well, if the devils are chained down, how do we still see evil take place? People still kill, people still drink, people still make zina, people still gamble, people still don't pray, so on and so forth. If the devils are locked down, and one of the answers of those ulama who said the hadith is true and it's literal, it's not majaz, it's zahir, is that there are other reasons behind evil aside from the shaitan. And that is an-nafsul amaratu bis-su. And that is hawa. And the Quran affirms all three. Shaitan, it affirms hawa, lust, desire, will, and it also affirms what? An-nafsul amaratu bis-su. Illa man rahima rabbi. The nafs that just commands with evil and pushes you towards what? Evil. An-nafsul lawama. All right? So you'll be able to see and understand with consistency. Once, twice, here and there, every month you fight it, or all the time. In any situation, any place, you always feel the desire to do it, you feed into it. Now you can't just blame it all on the what? On the shaitan. But of course the shaitan, he whispers. Shaitan, he incites. Okay? But it has to come a time in which you have to take some responsibility for yourself. And hasad, and just being nasty, and allowing that nastiness to come out, I don't find any excuse for it. Like we explained. It can happen. It can happen. MashaAllah. Oh, brother, MashaAllah, brother Mukhtar, MashaAllah. Allah bless him with this. I'm all older than him. He didn't give it to him. MashaAllah. You know, it can happen. It can happen. But then I start saying bad stuff to you, looking at you funny. Don't leave the salat no more ever again. Talking, oh, you're disrespecting me. You're trying to stand on your teacher's feet. There's no excuse what? There's no excuse to be nasty like that. But the actual feeling, you could feel a little fuzzy on the inside. That could what? Could happen. It's natural. But you're going to fight it. You're going to stifle it. Instead of saying nasty things to him, I'm going to congratulate him. Keep up the good work, akhi. And even though deep down inside I'm what? I'm burning like a candle. So when a person says something and mentions those nasty things or gives you a funny look or a funny comment, the dry hate, Allah tells us that what their hearts conceal, what? وَمَا تُخْفِي صُدُورُهُمْ أَكْبَرُ. What their hearts conceal is worse. And Allah tells us, وَحُسِّلَ مَا فِي الصُّدُورِ. That which is in the hearts is what? حُسِّلَ, it was obtained. يَوْمَ تُبْلَ السَّرَائِرِ. So there are always things in the chest and in the breast. But saying it, and to get to that level of saying it, in my humble opinion, it means, and it says a lot about you. And the same applies to racism, Mother Kobe. To say something about a race of people. They're all this. They're all that. They're all such and such. They're all such and such. Only Allah knows what. And what it took to get to that point to say that. For me to say all Guyanese people are lazy. How long was I what? Thinking it and feeling that. For that to what? Come out like that and to say it 2-3 times over and over again. And let alone what is also in my heart, what's even what? Worse than that. And the same applies to the hasad. The hasad. In which for a person to start talking ill of a believer, someone who has an ilm, knowledge, and you say nasty, nasty things, it shows you that your what? Your acid reflux was what? It was already up there, and it just what? But it was bubbling for what? For a while. May Allah protect us from that. Wallahu waliyadu billah. Fadl ya akhi. How does one choose a kunya? You can choose a kunya if you have children. You can choose a kunya based off something that you want to do, something that you want to have one day, or something that you like. You see what I'm saying to you? People can call you Abu Hurairah, Abu Leather. You always got on a leather jacket every time we see you, mashallah. You say what? Abu Jild. Abu Buttersoft. Mashallah. You see what I'm saying to you? You know, things like this, depending on what you like to do, what you're into. Or it could be a name that just sounds good. Abu Zur'a. Abu Hatim, huh? I remember brothers going around in Medina calling themselves that. And they were from the laziest students. And the furthest from ilm and hadith. But they just like the what? Because those are great imams. And the name itself also what? Abu Hatim. Razi, like, you know what I mean? So it depends on what you like. And as long as it's a permissible name and it's befitting, not best. So if you want to name your oldest child, that's one. Or if you want to name your oldest son, if you have a daughter that's older, it's permissible. La yalzam. Many brothers, they think that you can't have the name of a girl. And if you tell your girl's name, then you don't have no jealousy in ghaira. That's incorrect. It's incorrect. You can have Abu Aisha as your kunya. Because Aisha is the oldest. Hada huwa. Wallahu alam. Fadda ya akhi.
Is it permissible to have a second congregation after the first congregation in the masjid?
Second congregation is permissible, bi'idhnillah. It's permissible. I hold the view and take the opinion that it's not haram and it's permissible to have a second congregation as long as there's no strings attached. We don't want to pray behind Mukhtar because his tajweed isn't good enough. You see what I'm saying to you? Or we believe his thobe is najis. It's on the ground. He's Azhari. He doesn't believe that isbal is haram. You see what I'm saying to you? Or we want to make our own, we want to make a cool within the what? Within the masjid. So we're going to what? Start going late every day to make our own jama'ah. That way we can overthrow. Something like that. As far as I'm late, come pray with me. La bats, inshallah. Get that tawbah, Mukhtar. Fadda.
Initial MI, London, UK. Are Muslims allowed to support the dairy industry and the mass production of meat, considering that many animals are mistreated and the woman who mistreated her cat was punished?
طيب. Muslims supporting the dairy industry and the meat industry. Keep in mind the fact that the woman went to the hellfire for punishing a cat. It's a very good question, a very interesting question. I've never been asked this before. And I would say yes and no. There is a difference between a woman locking up a cat and starving it to death versus a farm that is a little greedy. It has a lot of animals. They have to push the animals, fatten up the animals. Everything is not picture perfect with regards to how they handle an animal. So there's a similarity and a parallel, but at the same time, it's a difference. Now, many people, and I'm not saying this about the questioner, but many people, they think and they feel that when they hear human rights or being kind to an animal, they hear it in theory, but they don't know what it's like in practice. You go to the slaughterhouse or the farm and you try to implement the sunnah step by step. It's not that simple. The goat does not just walk with you and say mad or bad. It's not that easy. The goat doesn't just what? Sometimes, you have to run and chase it. The thing will jump through a fence and hold it down. Sometimes you have to what? Body slam the animal. You're not trying to hurt the animal, but what? So it's not just a cakewalk. It's not just a cakewalk in which you think that the animal, just because you're going to slaughter me according to the sunnah with a sharp blade, I'm going to submit. Nah. Some of those goats, they'll kick you, they'll bite you, they'll jump, they'll poke you. It's not that simple. So everything in the animal industry or the dairy industry is not necessarily intentional misuse of animal and mistreatment of animals. That's the point. The woman took the cat and specifically what? Locked it up and starved it to death. These people are not trying to starve the animal. They're trying to make what? Profit. But everything is not always what? Picture perfect. Now, on the scale that these people are mistreating and misusing these animals, it is at least problematic, yes. Organic, grow your own, fair treatment, try your best. But to say that people cannot buy milk, that people cannot have cheese, that people can't even eat halal stuff, because the Muslims are what? Very similar. You go to the Muslim slaughterhouse, they're pulling the animal, dragging it, throwing it down as well. All right? So you have to be careful. You have to be balanced. If you have the ability to bring some light, to shed some light, to give advice, speak to the manager, write some letters, give them nasiha, tell them we're not supposed to treat the animals like this, then do that. If you have the ability to have your own animals, to drink your own milk that you get from your own farm or whatever, 10 families get together, they can have a what? Small farm. 20 brothers get together. They go to watch the football game or to buy overgarments and pocketbooks. Why can't they what? Put their money together and have natural, halal, organic products in which the cow is not being abused and sucked dry of all of its milk just to make someone's belly bigger. So I agree with you in one aspect, and it could be included in that, but it does not mean that a Muslim cannot buy milk from the store. And it does not mean that everything that happens in a farm is the most horrid and horrible thing. There are things in which that are beyond the control of the farmer. That's what I would say. And I think that's a fair answer, and Allah knows best.
Initials FS, Toronto, Ontario. What are quick questions for sisters/brothers to ask their suitor prior to marriage?
Question from Toronto, Canada. Good questions for a brother or sister to ask a potential suitor for marriage. Wallahi, yani, it depends on yourself. I'll say mix things up. All the questions should not be religious based. Nor should all of the questions be worldly based or personal. Ask the conditions of la ilaha illallah, so on and so forth. What do you like to eat? What do you like to drink? How bad is do you have a bad temper? Are you an emotional person? What would you do to your wife if you found her like this? What would you do if I was sick? Would you such and such? Would you such and such? Are you going to get married again? A second wife, third wife, fourth wife? Okay. Things like this. Has the garden been watered? Allahu Akbar. So you got to mix up your questions because you're looking for a wife. Okay. You're not looking for a student or a teacher, right? You're looking for a wife now that you want to teach or you want to learn from her. But at the same time, she's still your what? She's still your wife. So it is much more than just books. It's about her personality, her family background, her ethnicity, hereditary diseases, whatever the case may be. So mix it up. Me personally, I think the most important questions to ask are the questions which will allow you to have a basic level of confidence and trust to take it a step further. Once you get married, you learn other things about your spouse. You don't have to learn everything about your spouse before marriage, but know the most important things, the deal breakers. I'm sorry, sister, I can't marry you if your feet look like that. Malice, I need to see your what? Toes right now. If you got bad bunions and onions and corns, I can't what? It's not going to work. All right? Or other sisters, they may have what? Questions for the brothers like that. If it ain't like this, what? Malice. I'm talking about water in the garden. Your hoes ain't watering anything. Okay? So you got to ask questions that you know you cannot tolerate, you cannot live with, or you have to have. So sisters, if you don't want a co-wife and you can't deal with it, ask first, sit down. Right? If you know you don't not attracted to a woman like this or like that, ask what she looks like what? From the get-go. If you know that the brother has to be able to support you in an extravagant lifestyle, a standard of living, he can't have you in an apartment with roaches and rats and this and that, you need to establish that what? هذا هو. والله أعلم. صلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا وإمامنا محمد.